Hey everybody, we've got to cover this story really quickly. I know everybody's going to be talking about it, but Donald Trump indicted by Manhattan grand jury, surrender expected early next week. Trump has become the first former president to face criminal charges. So this is on every site. Everybody's going to be talking about this probably for the foreseeable future. This article's on ABC News, and I was unsure if I was going to cover this myself. I'm not overly interested in this story. I get it's a big bombshell, although we've been prepared for it for a little while now. I'm more into focusing on the electoral impact, and I had a poll out last week that asked if this would help or hurt Donald Trump overall in 2024. The reaction was pretty split. I think more people think it would help him in the primary, hurt him in the general. It's probably true, but then again, I frequently go back to 2016, and a ton of that stuff I thought was going to bring him down. It certainly was made out to be that way, and it just never brought him down. So I do think it would help him in the primary. In the general, yeah, I could see it hurting him a little bit, but would it hurt him enough to cost him the general election? I think that depends on the national environment and the issues and the economy at the time. And of course, if there's any other scandals around Joe Biden. So that remains to be seen, but what we do know is that this is surrounding the Stormy Daniels story and not the case out of Georgia. The Georgia case seemed to be more stronger. It was certainly more politically relevant. That was with the phone call of Trump asking the Secretary of State to find some additional votes in the 2020 election. And that story is not really all that salacious, doesn't have anything sexual, doesn't have infidelity, so maybe people don't care about it as much. But from most of the commentary I've seen over the past week, a lot of people think that is the stronger case. This is a little bit of a reach. It's maybe superficial, and a conviction would probably not even seem all that likely. Now, I don't know all the specifics to this story, and as I kind of said at the beginning, I'm not super interested in the details. So let's talk about the rest of this story. And over here on the Hill, we have Ron DeSantis won't cooperate with Trump extradition. And it says here DeSantis called the indictment un-American, and he would not assist in the extradition request. And he goes on to say more about it. He goes after the DA, Alvin Bragg. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens. Although it did seem like Trump wanted to make a spectacle out of this. So maybe he does surrender himself and wants the spotlight completely on him, like it frequently is. And maybe that ends up helping him. Maybe it doesn't. We'll see what happens. But again, this is just an indictment. It's not a good look, that's for sure. But it's not a felony conviction just yet. And it certainly might never get to that point. But it does seem like a lot of the reactions, people go to the same tribal corners. The Republicans say this is a complete political witch hunt. The justice system has never and should never be used in this way. They've been going after Trump forever, trying to get anything they can, and it's pretty pathetic if this is the best they've got. And then on the other side, there's a lot of celebration that Trump should not be above the law. Justice is finally being served, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be more coming. So all that is expected. I get it. I see it on both sides. I think the only thing I'd like to add would be, I think there's a lot of stuff high-profile politicians have done that could warrant an indictment, but for one reason or another, it seems to just never get to that point. So I think it's relevant to at least point out that if this is going to happen, it should probably happen in other situations. So how about the primary? Well, we can see where people are putting their money and get on predicted. And here it is. Who will win the 2024 Republican presidential nomination? Donald Trump, he's right there. The 45th president, he's at 45 cents. Ron DeSantis is at 36. Nikki Haley's at 7, and then down from there. Most of the polling I've seen has shown Trump with a lead. A lot of times it's by over double digits. Over Ron DeSantis in the general election, those polls are competitive against Joe Biden. Some of them he's even leading. And the national polls technically don't even matter. It's all about certain key states in the Electoral College. So would this hurt Trump in the general election? Remains to be seen, but it's hard to think that it would help him. And even if it only cost him maybe a point or two, that could easily be enough to cost him the election. Now, my take would be, again, the national environment, any scandals with Biden, whatever the issues are at the time, and the enthusiasm of the Trump base, and which way the independents are leaning. Those are all factors that add up to me not being able to count Trump out almost under any circumstances. Now, if the Georgia indictment comes down as well, and it might, yeah, it's going to be tough to see Trump winning it, at least in the general election. Would that be enough to cost him in the primary? That seems much less likely, but as I always say, anything is possible. So that's about it for this story. I'm sure you could go on and on about this. There's going to be endless coverage, endless commentary. There's probably going to be some protests. There's going to be celebration. There's going to be everything in between. Then they're also going to shove a camera and a microphone in front of every politician's face to get their reaction. Most of them should be prepared for this event and have a decent canned response. But at the same time, who really cares what most of these people think? Does anybody really care what Nikki Haley or Mike Pompeo says in response to this? But some of you might have a different opinion, so let me know in the comments. What do you think about this story? Let me know any of your thoughts down below. On your way out, if you enjoy this channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.